Hey, I just wanted to do a little overview of a Amethyst Steel deck I've been working on. Um, it's a little different. I don't think a lot of people are looking at a deck like this. For a while, it had trouble with the Steel Amber mid-range decks, like the Ducky deck. But as the Steel Wheel decks have become more popular and sort of taken over the mid-range decks part of the metagame, I think this deck is actually pretty well positioned. So it's a control deck, and it features the early game board control characters of Captain Hook and Prince Eric. And then it's got a pretty big assortment of 3-drops. Obviously, Rafiki is very good against aggro decks. Having Rush can take out Simbas. The wardrobe is just a really big body. One copy of Tinkerbell, which can be shifted into the big Tinkerbell. Maleficent, obviously, for card draw. And the idea here is that you can just ink the ones that are bad and play the ones that are good. For 4-drops, it's kind of a similar situation. We've got, a couple copies of Elsa, one Jafar, a couple copies of Hans. The Elsa, similar to the wardrobe, is just sort of a big body, as is Jafar. Yeah, but the Elsa can also be shifted into Big Elsa, which is a nice advantage there. I had started with more copies of Jafar. The awkward thing is, you don't always have a lot of cards in your hand. It's a little bit harder for this deck to keep a full hand when compared to something like Ruby Amethyst control. So I found that sometimes Jafar is really, really good, sometimes it's really, really bad. That's why I have a weird split of 4-drops here. The Queen is obviously good draw power. I have 4 copies of Beast. The reason I have so many Beasts in this deck right now is that one of the worst matchups is the Ruby Amethyst control deck. They just go a little bit bigger than you. But having 4 copies of Beasts gives you a way to outdraw them in some games. You can stick your own Magic Mirror and beast them off their magic mirrors, and then you actually can catch up on cards. Obviously, Tinkerbell sort of pairs well with all the other steel cards, does a really good job of stabilizing the board. Just a very, very powerful card. And then I think the reason to play a deck like this is that you get access to both Ursula and Elsa, these really powerful late game Amethyst cards. Once you stabilize, you can close the game extremely quickly. So conceptually, the idea here is you play a control game for the first 5 or 6 turns of the game, and then you sort of turn the corner by playing an Ursula on turn 7 and just trying to end the game as quickly as possible. As an additional super late game threat, I have 2 copies of Maui. It's just a big dumb beater, very good against the steel decks because 8 willpower is hard to clear. The removal package here is Smash and Grab Your Sword. We've got card draw cards, obviously 4 copies of Friends on the other side, as well as 3 Magic Mirrors, and 2 copies of Pocket Watch. Pocket Watch lets you turn your characters into removal spells, which is pretty cool. This deck has been pretty successful for me. The only thing I haven't mentioned, I think, is the 4 Pascals here. It's a little weird. It doesn't really seem to fit the theme of the deck that well, but what it does is give you a little bit more game against the control deck. You can just stick a Pascal on one and hopefully quest for like 4 or 5. That way, when you reach the late game where their deck is more powerful, you have just a little bit of an edge in questing for the win, and hopefully you can get there before they do with your Ursulas and Elsas. It's also pretty nice against the Amber Sapphire decks. It just sort of sits in play, they have no way to get rid of it, it just quests for 1 every turn. If the game lasts 8 turns, 10 turns, I mean, that's 7 to 10 lore possibly, just off 1 character, which is pretty nice. But yeah, that's the deck. Okay, on the play. So, what to do? I'm going to ship definitely Tinkerbell and Ursula. Probably going to keep these 3 on the left for sure, and Elsa. I'm going to ship Beast as well. I don't know if it's going to be useful. Okay. Well, I've got a bunch of 3s. So I'm going to send... Yeah, I'm going to start by sending Maleficent back because I have a mirror for drawing already. It's hard to know what's going to be most useful without having any idea what my opponent is playing. Okay, Smash. That tells me something. I don't know what it tells me, but it's something. Okay. The wardrobe. I can't ink Rafiki, so I'll ink the wardrobe this turn. Could have inked Maleficent again. I really don't know. Pascal. Right on time. Beast could be good depending on what we're playing against. If we're playing against blue steel, it's going to be good. Some sort of amber steel deck, it might be okay. If I could ink Rafiki, I would and play Maleficent, but I can't. So I think I'm just going to ink Maleficent and try to curve out here. I'm keeping Pascal. Actually, that was a mistake. I should have inked Pascal. They're playing steel. Pascal's going to be dead. I was kind of thinking for my previous decision. Forgot to reevaluate after drawing. Okay, okay. Steel. Emerald. Pascal's still gonna be bad, so let's start by getting rid of that. They don't have... They're not mill, because they don't have extra cards. I'm gonna play an Elsa and pass. Obviously this Mickey battles the Rafiki pretty well. Yeah, they're probably gonna have a pretty good tempo plan, so I need to make sure that I don't fall too far behind. I'm guessing lots of bounce effects and things of that sort. Not sure if this deck plays wheel. If it does, I mean, we're sitting pretty good against a wheel right now. Okay. And evasive, which is a little bit awkward. So the question is, am I worried about getting tempoed out? This Elsa's pretty good against a potential 5-drop out of them. So do I want to draw a card or play Beast? That's the question. And I think for this one turn, I'm going to draw a card. Quest with Elsa. I could have considered questing Rafiki too. If Mickey attacked into Rafiki, I could finish it with... Okay, so they have no inkables in hand? Okay. I'm just going to do this. I should have probably quested last turn with Rafiki, like I mentioned, but that's okay. Not a huge loss. One lore. Yeah, now that I drew second Tinkerbell, I think singing this Grab Your Sword is going to be good because it finishes off Tinkerbell and lets us get the Mickey. So let's do that. And we're already opened up to this hook, so may as well quest away. And I'm going to ink this Beast. I think we're going to want as much ink as we can so we can start drawing with these mirrors. It's not looking like I'm going to face any items. They're pretty far away from using Beast Mirror or anything like that. Cusco. Yeah, I think we're winning the race here, so that's good. Yeah. I think I'm just going to play Grab Your Sword for full price just to finish the hook. And it lets us quest with all of our characters. And now we can finish off this Cusco with Rafiki if we want. Bit of an awkward draw to my opponent not having enough Inkables, I think. That one turn where they missed was really bad. It almost looks like a mill deck, but I do not believe that it is. Plus 6, 17. Okay, so we don't have lethal. Pretty close, though. I am going to just draw, though. Cusco can sing things. I don't know. I don't think any of this matters. I mean, the Cusco's gonna have to trade into my stuff. Could have traded Rafiki for Cusco, but I'd rather just put them on notice here. Fair enough. That's just not gonna matter. Could have probably just inked this Pascal. It's obviously not gonna do anything here. What would it take to lose this game? It's not a very fun hypothetical. I guess running genies would probably do it. Really regretting not attacking with my Rafiki into this Cusco now. But it does not matter. Yeah, I do actually think, in hindsight, that attacking Rafiki into that Cusco is the better play. It just gives them one less character they can sing with. It prevents any crazy sort of comeback shenanigans like that. Yes, they had to have grab your sword into grab your sword into grab your sword or whatever it is they did, but I didn't need to let them have that out. I should have probably just gotten my value while it was there. I mean, I don't think putting them to putting myself to 17 lore is a horrible play. Obviously, when I have the Elsa in hand, it makes the Elsa lethal itself, but I did get mildly worried there for a second. Okay, back for another game. On the draw this time. I'm going to ship Ursula and grab your sword every time, I think. On the draw, 6 drops are a little bit slow. I'm going to keep the early stuff. Don't know what we'll need, but we can determine whether or not we want to ink those or play them. Alright, it's a pretty good opener. What are we up against? A Simba. And a hook. Alright. That says something. So what of this is the least useful? Well, second Maleficent's not going to be very good. I'm going to guess they're on a wheel variant of some sort. which means drawing cards is not going to be very good. Oh. Okay, so they don't have Rockstar Stitch. If they had Rockstar Stitch, they certainly would have kept that Stitch and played it. Okay. They could still sing A Whole New World as soon as the next turn. Got plenty of 3s, and I don't need to draw cards, so this can go. Interesting hand they have. Again, I don't need to draw cards, and if I get to 5, I have the queen anyway, so I'm going to start by inking that. I'm just going to play for the board here, I think. I do have You Have Forgotten Me on my mind. I don't think that they're playing You Have Forgotten Me. I would guess it's more likely they're in a wheel variant, although some people have been trying You Have Forgotten Me in Steel Wheel now. Okay. Hades for no value. Pascal's terrible against Steel. It's mostly just here for the control matchup, so we'll ink that. And, I mean, I'm happy to quest with the wardrobe. That's fine with me. I'm going to put the pocket watch in play. In part because walking into like a giant grab your sword by putting extra characters in play doesn't really... I'm not super excited about that prospect, so I'll just not do that. I'm expecting like a Tinkerbell. Okay. All right. Rafiki, kind of awkward, but that's okay. I'm just going to put the queen in play, and now I can start drawing cards, so You Have Forgotten Me doesn't scare me so much. I guess they could Hades get Hook for ink. It's kind of an interesting play. All right, just going to hard cast Grab Your Sword. Yeah. In that case, I am going to start by drawing. And then probably do the same back to them so I can keep my queen around. And I'm happy to ink this Eric. Start questing. Now what we're looking to do is draw into our Elsa's and Ursula's and just try to close the game as quickly as possible before they have a chance to actually get into it. Well, it's good for me that they don't have anything better to do than that, I guess. Just gonna keep trucking along here. They can trade for my queen now, but that's all right. So Maui is really strong against this deck. It's just so hard for them to deal 8 damage. Kind of regretting getting rid of all of my card draw, expecting them to wheel me. The fact that they've played this many Hades maybe doesn't mean anything, but it makes it a little bit more likely that they're playing a more mid-range version of the deck. I don't need Eric for anything. I can always haste it up with Pocket Watch. I just don't want to put this many characters in play against Grab Your Sword. So I'm just gonna hold it for now. Okay, there's a whole new world. Unfortunately for them, it's a little bit too late, and we're already so far ahead. Yeah. Okay. Not the two best games, but let's see if we can get a more interesting one here. Okay. On the play. Definitely sending back these Elsas. I don't really like starting with grab your sword. Everything else is fine. I can determine whether a pocket watch is going to be useful or not, but it's likely to just be ink, and I'm okay with that. Ah, Pascal. I just played this opponent. Can I remember what they were playing? Ugh. No. Well, I'm going to play the Pascal and hope it's good. Might be a mistake. I feel like if I wasn't recording, I would remember what my opponent is playing, but here I am thinking about other things. Simba. Okay. Smash. Well. Smash does remove Stitch before it becomes a problem. I'm gonna hold the Smash for now. If they play a Lantern, I will strongly consider smashing the Stitch. Okay, well now I will not, because it would do me absolutely no good. Instead, we'll just keep trucking. Okay, so against Amber, honestly, I think I'd rather have this Elsa in play. Hans is fine, but you don't necessarily want to put random damage on Amber characters because of Rapunzel. And Elsa's nice to have in play because I can shift Elsa onto it. Okay, so many aerials. Grab your sword, of course. Do they just play it? That's the question. They do not. Seems a little greedy to me. Well. So they took a grab your sword. Does that mean I think that they have wheel or not? I don't know. Let's start by singing this. This Maui, good in the matchup, but it's pretty far away. I'm going to... So the nice thing about Hans... Well, I just don't want to walk it into grab your sword. Alright, I'm just going to hardcast this grab your sword, get rid of their stitches. If they want to draw off of Rapunzel, so be it. Yeah. I'm just going to go all in like this. If they draw off Rapunzel, it means they're not doing anything else with their turn. Okay, 2 of them. Yeah, that's pretty brutal. Yikes. Okay, I think I have to draw with Magic Mirror because otherwise I have no access to inkables and I need to get to these higher cost cards. I've unlocked Ursula, which is good. Okay. Yeah. Got Ursula this turn, Elsa next turn. And Elsa the turn after that, I guess. Okay. All right. So now the question is, do I start taking out their stuff? I think I want to. I just want to get a little bit of board control and then I'll close them out over 2 or 3 turns after I'm certain that I'm way ahead. So the reason I tapped the Hook was because Hook could deal extra damage by attacking in. I regret that now because Ariel can sing. I think I probably should have tapped down one Ariel and Tinkerbell and then attacked the other Ariel just to prevent a whole new world from being trouble. Okay, this Tinkerbell is actually a really good draw here. It lets us do a lot of work. Okay, and the opponent concedes. All right. Well, that's a pretty good showing. Thanks for watching. I'm going to keep working on this deck. It's been really fun. I think it's pretty weak against the Ruby Amethyst control deck, but otherwise it seems pretty good.